Franz Kafka's The Metamorphosis opens with one of the strangest images in literature. A man wakes up and finds himself transformed into a giant insect, but that is not the real horror of the story. Not even close. Because Kafka is not really asking what it would feel like to become something monstrous. He is asking something darker. What happens when a person can no longer be useful? Long before Gregor Samsa changes, his life is already bleak. Early mornings, endless work, constant travel, pressure without relief. Duty shapes every part of his existence. Exhaustion hangs over him from the very beginning. Even before the transformation, this is the life of a trapped man. That is what makes Kafka so unsettling. The insect body comes later. The prison is already there. Then the body changes and suddenly the truth becomes visible. Unable to work, Gregor loses the one thing that seemed to define his place in the world. What follows is not a burst of supernatural terror. It is something colder, something quieter. At first, his family reacts with shock. Then fear takes over. Soon, even that gives way to discomfort, impatience, and finally rejection. Pain no longer matters. Humanity no longer matters. All that remains is the burden, a problem behind a closed door. That is why The Metamorphosis still feels so modern. Its horror is not really physical. It is social, psychological, deeply human. Kafka understands a fear that still lingers beneath modern life. The fear of becoming useless. The fear that your worth depends on what you can produce. The fear that once you stop functioning, people begin to look away. And Gregor understands that too. That may be the darkest part. There is no grand rebellion, no moment of righteous fury. Instead, he shrinks inward. Shame takes over. Silence takes over. Even in his transformed state, concern for others remains stronger than concern for himself. Rather than demanding to be seen, he hides. Rather than fighting for dignity, he seems to apologize simply for existing. That is what makes the story so painful. Kafka takes one impossible image and turns it into something painfully familiar. Exhaustion, isolation, humiliation, and the slow realization that love may not be unconditional after all. So maybe the true nightmare of the metamorphosis is not waking up as an insect. Maybe it is discovering how little separates being needed from being discarded. More than 100 years later, that fear still feels disturbingly alive. Because Gregor's transformation is not just about becoming something else. It is about becoming visible. Visible as someone trapped by duty. Visible as someone valued only for what he can give. Visible as someone the world can no longer use. And once that happens, everyone around him reveals who they really are. Do you think Gregor's transformation reveals the truth about his family or about society itself? Tell me in the comments, and subscribe for the next classic of the night.